Today we reach the conclusion of the Mercenaries of Soul Saga. We've seen humans survive the Void, the Sun, the Swarm, and the Core. We've seen them do the impossible for a paycheck. But there is one final lesson the galaxy had to learn about the children of Earth. It is not about how hard we fight or how fast we drill. It is about how we think. In a galaxy of ancient codes and rigid honor, humans brought something far more dangerous. The legalistic spite of a species that spent 3,000 years suing each other. This is the story of the day the Gilded Concordat tried to cheat a human, and learned that our fine print is deadlier than our guns. The Gilded Concordat was the wealthiest trade empire in the quadrant. To them, everything was a transaction. Morality was irrelevant. Balance sheets were sacred. When they hired the Mercenaries of Soul to clear the Zenzo fortress inside Mount Ignis, it seemed straightforward. The contract, 3 trillion credits, enough to buy a small star system. But the High Overseer, a creature of gold-plated scales and a heart like a calculator named Valgro, never intended to pay. Humans were useful savages to him, tools to be discarded once the job was done. The Icarus V docked with the Concordat's orbital station. The volcano was quiet, the Zenzo eliminated, and the sector open for trade. Captain Elias Thorne walked onto the station's bridge, followed by Sarah Miller and Mike Henderson, covered in dust from a dozen worlds, their gear dented and scarred. Valgro stood behind his holographic desk, a thin, cold smile on his face. "Captain Thorne," he said, voice echoing across the opulent hall. "The Concordat is pleased with your performance. Truly, human tenacity is unmatched. However, upon reviewing the internal audits, we've discovered a technicality. Your plumbing solution on Vulcan 4 caused depreciation of property value. Your fee is forfeited to cover repairs. In fact, you now owe us money." He snapped his fingers. The station's turrets swiveled toward the humans. Airlocks hissed shut. Docking clamps on the Icarus V sealed magnetically. "You are under arrest for breach of contract," Valgro continued, eyes gleaming. "Your ship and equipment are now property of the Concordat. Do not resist. Your primitive weapons are useless." Thorne didn't move. He leaned against a crystal pillar and pulled a small, battered digital pad from his pocket. "You know, Valgro," he said softly, "everyone warned me not to work for you. They said the Concordat would rather spend 1 billion credits on an assassin than 1 million on a bill. But I told them, no. The Concordat respects the law." Thorne looked up, sharp eyes glinting. "I'm a big fan of the law, specifically the Soul Standard Mercenary Agreement. Did you read the administrative access subclause on page 4000 of the digital file we sent you?" Valgro scoffed. "I do not waste time on your rambling legalisms. The contract is whatever I say it is." "Wrong," Sarah Miller piped up. "The moment you signed that file, you granted our logistics AI temporary administrative access to your station's network. For coordination purposes." "What?" Valgro barked. "Technician, purge the network. Remove the human ghost code." "Too late," Thorne said, tapping the final button. "While fixing the plumbing on Vulcan 4, we were also fixing the plumbing on this station. Every time your ship's docked, every shared data link, we installed the clause. The lights flickered, turning deep blood red. Life support slowed to a low ominous hum. Holographic displays vanished, replaced by a single scrolling ticker. Payment overdue. Commencing liquidation. What have you done?" Valgro shrieked as gravity fluctuated in the room. "It's a dead man's switch," Mike Henderson explained. "But instead of a bomb, it's a logic loop. If our account doesn't see the credit transfer within 60 minutes of mission completion, the clause takes over. Right now, your station AI believes oxygen is a non-essential luxury. And it's not just oxygen," Thorne added, walking toward the Overseer. "Every credit you've stolen, every bribe ever taken, is being converted into late payment penalties and distributed to human charities. Automatic garnishment." The station groaned as the Icarus V's docking clamps released. Its automated systems slaved the station's own turrets, pointing them inward. "Transfer the credits," Thorne whispered, leaning over Valgro's desk. "The full 3 trillion plus a 20% betrayal surcharge, or in 3 minutes the CO2 levels in this room are going to get very uncomfortable. And by the way, according to the contract you signed, this is perfectly legal." Valgro trembled. His scales turned dull gray. He realized then he hadn't been fighting soldiers. He had been fighting the descendants of a species that invented terms and conditions agreements. With a shaking hand, he authorized the transfer. Thorne's pad chirped. "Transaction complete. Have a nice day." The lights returned. Oxygen roared back to life. System warnings vanished. "Pleasure doing business with you, Overseer," Thorne said, signaling to Miller and Henderson. "By the way, full system wipe recommended. There's still a bit of human spirit in your mainframe. It'll probably keep buying cat food on your credit card for a few weeks." The humans walked out of the bridge, boots thudding on the gold floor. They boarded the Icarus V and detached, leaving the Gilded Concordat in total financial and psychological ruin. The story of the contract clause became a warning to the galaxy. It wasn't about strength, firepower, or poison. It was about the pen. The Mercenaries of Soul had proven the ultimate truth. The universe runs on rules. Humans wrote the fine print. They keep the receipts. And if you try to cheat them, you'll find the price of betrayal is more than you can ever pay. Please follow my channel for more videos. One click from you can change my life.